He created the universe, right? In a sense, it's just like Einstein, time, space, cone. So when you think of all of time and space for Einstein, all of this exists at once. The reason, remember, that the dot that's experiencing now is just right here is because that's our consciousness, that's our conscious experience right now. And so we're measuring the past as you go back in time, and we're measuring the future as you go forward in time, but for Einstein, all of time exists at once. And that's, he actually got that from Augustine, where he says Augustine is the best conception of time. So he's aware of that, and that's where the theory can go back to. And as a result, our impression of God changing is an illusion that occurs to us. God is actually fixed. Just a few points about Augustine. Thank you. Question? Is this fun? This will be important because notice these ideas as they keep coming in, gives us new models of how to view things. Those models stay with us. We might add more as we go, but basically we end up accumulating all of these bits as we go. It can be, I think, less confusing when you know where these models came from. So there's an advantage of understanding historically where all this came from. Jesus rescues us by basically saying, all you have to do is stop having evil. It's your fault. Give it up. View everything as wonderful, love everyone, and you're in heaven. You're already there. It's not like you'll be saved tomorrow. You're saved the minute you change your perspective on what's making up the world. And actually, if you start at the top of the church, like I think of the Roman Catholic Church with Pope John Paul or Pope Benedict, that's the way he describes it. It's just, when you get down to the pew level, you're still talking in more childlike descriptions of things, because most people don't have the chance to study theology. We want more simple explanations for things. Fun?
Now, when did the three graces turn to the monotheistic married polytheist? Is that just like as soon as Christianity came out?
I don't think it was that. No, I don't think so. I think it was a gradual development. So I would have to ask and look to see. It's just at least we had Mariology. In fact, Pope John Paul II almost made Mary another member of the Trinity. It was getting close, actually, because there's a need for Mary. There's a need for another role model that is the feminine, the sacred feminine. What is Mary? If it helps you to pray to Jesus, maybe that's because you're male. And if you pray to Mary, there was a comic I watched just recently who said that she was Catholic, and the difference she noticed between Protestants and Catholics is Protestants talk to Jesus directly, right? But when you're a Catholic, you can't go right to Jesus. First, you have to go to the guardian angel. Then you go to your saints, or you go to Mary. But you don't just go right to Jesus. You have to go and ask these others first.
Now, did the three graces have names? Is that like Faith, Hope, and Charity, or is that?
Oh, they did have. Yeah, there were names associated with them. Probably names that meant like, well-stocked freezer,
Live laughing.
you know how the Greeks did things. You know, the names actually meant what they did rather than.
Thank you.
All right. See you Thursday.
I want to check if the quiz is due on this Saturday night.
You asked this last class too, but yes, it could
Oh,
be.
no, sorry, not the
You could
quiz,
send
the-
it today.
The test.
Oh, the test.
Yeah,
the
test,
test.
not the quiz.
Officially, it's due Saturday night. I think I say Thursday
Okay.
on the syllabus.
Yeah, syllabus is Thursday.
Um, I'm in no hurry, actually.
Okay.
You know, if people are late. The only thing is, I don't want to be so liberal that people are sending me all of their stuff the evening before I have to turn in grades.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you know, you can't read, 32 term papers and 32 times 3 times tests and all the quizzes. I get those. I get somebody that sends me, like, in one email, here's all my quizzes, here's all 3 of my tests attached, and here's my term paper. And I'm like, this is midnight, and I'm supposed to turn your grade in now.
Yeah.
And, so that happens. People
Really?
Right.
Had someone just like send it in like the
they
day
always
of.
do. There are other folks that will send everything in early. So you get the whole gamut.
Yeah.
And at least a couple of people will not send me stuff and then email me and say, sorry, I had stuff that, got in the way. All my family members died, my boat sank, my house got burned. Little things that interfere with
Yeah.
finishing their course.
I just had a question about the concept of seeing everything as good. So I'm like reading Mere Christianity still.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm reading the chapter about the great sin, which is pride. Well, that's what C.S. Lewis says. Pride is the great sin. How do you...
That's Augustine, actually.
Oh,
I
Augustine.
didn't bring that up, but
Oh.
the initial problem
Mhm.
was the angels who were created in the image of God, and
Mhm.
that's why we get to be like God, because we're created in the image of God.
Right.
How do we explain that? But the chief angel was so wonderful, but at one point he actually looked at himself instead of just focusing on God,
Yeah.
and realized that I'm not as good as God.
Mhm.
And his pride was hurt.
Yeah.
And so the sin of pride starts off with the top angel, Lucifer,
Yeah.
and the fall
Mhm.
of that is the cause of pride.
Mhm.
And he's cast out, he torments, the people on the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Uh,
So how do you view that? How do you view Lucifer and seeing all as good? I mean, because I read the chapter about forgiveness, and you hate the sin but not the sinner. So you just try to, you hate with the action of the man. You don't have to be fond of them, because you know, like the love thyself. No, love others as thyself. Like, you hate the action of the man, but you don't hate the man himself. Or you don't have to be fond of him or anything like that.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
hope for better,
Yeah.
hope for his good or something.
yeah.
If that's right.
Those are techniques that, of course, you could use to not be mad at him.
Yeah,
The-
him entirely.
Yeah, the trouble with contemporary biological sciences and psychology tell us that he has a character fault that's might not be his fault. It's his genetics.
Mhm.
Maybe the one I'm especially familiar with, his mom was drinking while he
Okay.
was a fetus.
Yeah.
So guess what? His circuits are not all there.
Yeah,
So you give him instructions and he doesn't get it.
yeah,
He does whatever occurs to him at a time, and
Mm-hmm.
an awful lot of things that occur to him are things that we consider evil.
yeah,
He took your wallet. It was lying there. He took it.
yeah.
It's not like he has an evil
He's
nature.
not, okay, yeah.
He's a dog that took the bone you left on the table.
Yeah,
So it's a shame to think, well, we can't really treat that person as a full example of a human. We have to limit the rights that individual has so that they don't take wallets off tables.
yeah.
That they're maybe
Like the temptation.
they're lived in maybe a confined environment. Where every day they're woken up and they're given a healthy meal, they're not allowed to eat, have drugs and all those other kinds of things, well, that means we're limiting that person's freedoms and so on. And actually, our Constitution prohibits that at a certain point.
Yeah.
So individuals, unless they've actually done something that we find them guilty, and we won't find them guilty if we say it's a mental illness.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have individuals that fall in between the cracks, where they're too mentally ill to be punished, but not so mentally ill that maybe drugs or something will let them continue to live a free life.
Yeah.
And as a result, 2 months later, they stab somebody in the back in the library. Destroy their life, basically.
Yeah.
Because why? No reason. They're just on impulse. They had a knife and they saw that person at the library and they just stabbed her in the back.
Yeah.
Right in her spine, so that she's now disabled.
Is that like Plato's? It's Plato, right? That has the personalities, the metals, the gold, and the silver. Is that like the personality, like you're predestined? Like you're not, like your personality's set, and like you said, you either become wise or military, or you stay at like.
That's Plato.
Yeah.
We
So that would be a concept.
We have 4 social classes now because the press is the 4th.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That makes sense.
And then there's the middle class, and
Yeah.
Well, that's Plato. That's way back. It's a real good question. Did Plato have individuals in their Athenic society that were mentally unable to care for themselves?
Yeah.
And they did have slavery, and that was considered natural. Some people deserve to be slaves, apparently. And maybe that's where those people were.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to imagine that they didn't have alcohol and alcoholic mothers.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that was certainly. But who knows? Maybe their health care wasn't good enough for those people to survive either. I don't know.
That's true. And then I have one more other question. So, like, whenever life and death is in the power of the tongue, and how you said we're made in the image of God, and how God said, "Let there be light." Is it because our words can influence, not like power like God can, like we can't make light, but I know our words can obviously words can hurt people and stuff like that. But is that because like we don't have God's full power, but we have like creation, we can like create like kind of God, but not on His level. But you know what I mean? Like, is that what life and death is in the power of the tongue mean, or like, what is your?
Oh, well, I love how Dumbledore, if you've seen the movie,
Yes, I love
right?
Harry Potter.
Where Harry has temporarily died, from the Avada Kedavra.
Yeah.
And he's lying, where do you think we are? Looks like King's Cross, except cleaner.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But at that point, Dumbledore says, words have always seemed to be our greatest power of magic. To either hurt or to destroy or to help or whatever. And so he says, so don't hate them. Yeah, I mean, this is a very Christian, perspective.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Don't hate them. Feel sorry for them because they don't have love. Voldemort can't love.
Yeah.
And so you should feel sorry for him as opposed to hate him.
Right.
And in fact, at the very, very end, where Harry says, and I feel sorry for you. And I don't know if that's actually in the book or not, but in the movie, that's clearly a blow to Voldemort, to his pride that Harry feels sorry for him, and that he needs remorse for all the things he's done, and that's his only solution, right? Is remorse, because that's also Christian, basically. asking for forgiveness and
Yeah.
and forgive,
Realizing he's wrong and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that would help perhaps unify all the parts of his soul back together again, because otherwise he's,
Lost.
his soul is in a miserable condition for all eternity, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
well,
makes sense.
Lady Rowling is clearly presenting a very Christian narrative for us.
Yeah, now that I look at that perspective, I can see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for answering my questions.
You're welcome, Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I still, every time I see Travis,
Travis Kelsey.
I think, oh, I have a student named
That is
Chelsea.
so funny.
Don't confuse them.
Right. Have a good day.
See you Thursday.